All right, we ready? Okay, who's doing the intro this time? You or me?
I'll do it.
Go.
Hey guys, welcome in to Tavern Talk episode. We still don't have any clue what episode we're on, and with my lovely co-host Darth Microtransaction, we are no longer having me in a hot tub, thank God, by the way. And we're inviting our good friend Mr. Righteous Fire, hottest content creator of Path of Exile as of right now. Maybe not so much for 326. Mr. Pox, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, my friend. Hope everything is going well. Yep.
Better than ever. Dude, the patch notes were sick. What was your first reaction to reading the patch notes or the reveal stream? We'll start with that one.
With the reveal stream, very excited.
Yeah.
Like I was not expecting Betrayal to get such a nice overhaul, I'd say. Like I thought it
Yeah.
was kind of going to end at the quality of life and maybe they were going to do like some really minor things to like what I call him Guff the Scuff, who I don't think is scuffed anymore. Um but I'm kind of blown away with like every aspect of it. The only thing I am personally hesitant, where I'm sure a lot of people are also hesitant, is um King's March being back. I like it, but I don't know. And there's always this weird philosophy where in the olden days of PoE, people got upset with the game because they said it's too bloated, right? We're talking about like 6 years ago. And then they made a big patch that made it so, hey guys, you don't have to do all these league mechanics now. Here's a really nice atlas where you can choose to do whatever you want. You can block stuff you don't want. But King's March, I don't really know if I'm going to feel like that. I feel like it's going to feel a little bit forced because you probably don't have to do that much to get really good returns. So this is something that I'm going to have to just kind of feel out. More importantly, I'm going to just kind of ignore that part as much as I can and just focus on the brand new stuff. I really am excited for the mercenary system. I never thought I would be, but I'm really excited for it. So I don't know. I didn't think it was something that I would be excited for, but I really am.
No, same thing I thought, dude. I did not expect to see a mercenary system in Path of Exile. Like
Me
I
neither.
would have lost some
Mm.
major money betting against that for sure. Uh, how you feel about the implementation of how they actually did it? Where you have sort of the like you can banish them, you can exile them, whatever you want to call it. You can take an item from them or a currency, or you can actually acquire them themselves. Like, do you like the way it was actually implemented?
I think so. I don't think I fully understand all of it yet because
Sure.
the so like you challenge them. They have that little bundle of currency. When you kill them, you get the bundle of currency, and then you can choose if you like want them on your group or not. Right? It's kind of something like that.
Yeah, basically, that's what it kind of
Right.
seems like. Yeah.
And then they don't level up, but they scale with your level, so it promotes you to want to find higher level mercenaries of the same type that you have, and they're categorized into like themes or archetypes, and then you can banish a specific archetype for like 10, 10 runs or whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. And then you have fishing for the golden what do they call it? The golden supports.
Yep.
So I like it. Like it's cool because it's not something that you're just like, okay, I did it once and now I'm done with it. It's kind of like this incentive to keep looking and keep engaging with it to find that perfect mercenary. And I'm really happy they did not make them lose their equipment on death because that would have just been a nightmare right from the get-go. Like we all know there's probably going to be some balancing issues. I am on the boat of like I want the mercenaries to be very good because they have a whole entire equipment system. Like your character, you have a
Yep.
whole equipment system. You can, I'm guessing like unique items, influence gear, like full on everything, which I'm also double excited for in SSF because as a one build Andy, I do play other builds here and there, but a lot of the time I find really cool fractures and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like I'm
True.
never going to play a bow build. What do I do with this spine bow
True.
that dropped with 168% fizz and I accidentally slammed T1 attack speed and T1 flat fizz? And then I'm like, what do I? I'm not going to make a bow build. So I'm excited for that feature.
I think that one of the best parts with the Merc system is like I've been asking for over a decade, and for all you Zoomers out there, a decade is 10 years. Like I've been asking for this for so long to get the Enemy Guardian dying not become a currency sink for like new players and casual players. So this Merc change seems to be like the tipping point that made them actually do that. So that got me super excited. But I actually would have preferred to see the Merc that you find level with you because I'm not sure how it's going to work. No one knows. But to me, it sounds like the place to get the best ones will be in tier 17s. So to find the when you want to fish the best ones, it seems like they're based at the area level. So now you're like kind of want to get tier
Is
17s,
it your
maybe it scales
level
with.
or the level of the content you're clearing?
the level of the
Yeah.
content is my understanding. And
What
if
level
it's
are
area
217?
level,
Sorry, didn't
what
mean to
is
talk
he?
over. I thought I
No,
saw
that's fine.
Mercs level 80 something, but what level are? Oh, I guess maps go really high. Never mind, I'm dumb. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, area level.
that would
There
suck.
are
Yeah,
there are
if what you're
still ways
saying,
to increase it, right?
I don't remember.
Or is that just
Since
increasing the level of the rares?
yeah, I'm not sure, but that's a very good point to bring up.
I was kind of
But I
wondering
mean, you want to
about
farm that.
the passive trees too, right? Did they mentioned that they have passive trees, but you can't see them, right? It's like my understanding, if I got that correctly.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think
are
Mark said he said specifically that it's not necessarily like a full-on passive tree, but they do gain attributes per level. I think he specifically said. I imagine they gain more than just attributes because to be viable in Path of Exile, like
right?
unless they have their own attribute equation of how things work.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I kind of liked it. There's some a couple of things that happened last couple of years in PoE one as well, like transfigurated gems replaced alt quality gems, and they were like, yeah, let's add this. We stripped away all quality gems. Here's trans gems, and we're gonna keep adding these. And then they just stopped adding them. We have so many skills that don't have a trans gem. But in the footage, we saw Ray Zombie of Gigantism, which might be an upcoming trans gem. I have no idea, but it's like a pseudo version of it. So maybe we'll see some more versions of it. We saw these Throarthens, those versions of skill gems. So that might be trans gems in their current way of implementing it. I don't know. And the other thing was the mastery change. They did that one league or two leagues. It's actually funny because in the first reveal they did for that, this is many years ago, in the screenshot teaser, there was an image of a minion mastery node, but there were no minion mastery changes. So I wrote to Chris Wilson and I wrote something in the lines of, "Where the fuck are my minion changes?" And he just laughed and said it didn't make it in for this league, hopefully for the next. And then we never saw any more mastery changes. But now we get rune grafting. So I don't know, they kind of like, it feels like they're fixing and like kind of speeding up the stuff that they didn't do in the past and like getting everything in one go. It was just so massive. But no, to get back on the mercenaries, I would have preferred them to level with you, and the chase would have been to try to find the skills they want to use that you want them to operate with, because that would kind of they would scale beyond whatever area you're in. Because now it feels like you're going to be forced, if you want them best of the best of the best, to farm them into your 17s.
Wouldn't that kind of
That's probably
be?
my only complaint
I
about
mean, wouldn't
it.
that be a little boring though? Because then it's like they level with you, you just find the right one. He levels with you always. You don't replace him, and then you just kind of always got the dude with you. You know what I mean? Like you're not really getting anything. You kind of, I think they want you to like cycle, like be a mechanic. You're actually kind of constantly engaging with instead of just you got the one, you won and done. You know?
Yeah, but do you think that once you have, like, once you get to tier 16, tier 17s, whatever you find it, it's the same thing. Once you have it there, it's literally the same thing. And I don't think,
Except
I
for the
think there's going
portion
to be
of
a
getting there
very,
though. Because like you could
yeah,
find it
I mean, that's,
earlier, like you could find it like tier 3 maps or something. You're like, oh, that's the right everything. Now let me just level them.
that's fair. But at the same time, do you like? I don't think that people will cycle different mercenaries. I think that everyone will find like this is the one that's for my build.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
probably.
lack defensive aura, so I want to have one that survives and uses determination. That's all I care about. Then whatever I'll find, I'll use that. So, I mean, you still have the gearing part of it, and like D2's merc system is what people be screaming about for many years in PoE, right? And in there, you just picked it up from whatever act you wanted it from with the correct aura and everything, and it was the progression of the merc had less to do with finding the correct merc. It was more about just fixing the gear on him and building the gear system on it.
Yeah, I can see both your points of view, right? Like DM is basically saying, well, I guess I'll start with your end. On your end, you would prefer it if your merc keeps scaling with you, and then the chase is finding your correct golden supports. So you're still engaging with the system, but you're keeping the same person. You're naturally upgrading his gear like you would with both systems, but your grind is more so to get the gems and the support gems. DM is I guess, the reverse, where you're constantly cycling the new mercenaries regardless of anything because you need to keep it up on character level, and then you're still looking for the supports anyway. So if you're using like a, I don't know, Tukahama warrior, you're still going to stick with every Tukahama warrior, but you're going to progressively switch them out as you find the one with better supports. I don't really know which one I would like more. I guess I have to play and see like where an issue would lie.
I would assume either way it's
Yeah.
going to boil down to their aura bots, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's the end game of this. It's not like because how you really scale the mercenaries? to do like more damage than you or is the same damage. I mean, you kind of can't, right? I mean, I guess you could put items
I
on them.
mean, that depends on what letter in the alphabet your build hits with DPS. So like I'm stuck at Z, and I feel like I could promote the mercenary to like F, you
True,
know?
true.
Like I he's
Yeah.
got to do more damage than RF. He has to.
How about double RF? You just get an RF guy, and then you got
No,
two dudes doing Z
no,
DPS.
no, no, dude. Z
You
plus
guys
Z
remember
is
when
still
you
Z.
guys were talking about we were talking about like doing 3-man leveling together like a year or 2 years ago, whatever. And we were like,
Mm.
yeah, let's all do Righteous Fire. And then we're like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. Only one instance will do damage.
Yeah, I always get people that ask me this. They're like, "Hey man, I want to play RF with my friend, like is it okay?" And I'm like, "Not really, but if you really want to, you could use Fire Trap, he could use Scorching Ray, and your other buddy can use like Flame Blast or Searing Bond or something." And I'm like, "It's not good. Like you're gonna get stuck in yellow map."
Well, I mean, there were some nice buffs though. I mean, sure, RF got their treatment, but Scorching Ray was buffed. There's a damage over time multiplier from a golem now. Like Fire Trap was buffed. They don't compensate enough. Like I haven't done the numbers. You're
Wait,
the
so
numbers
what
guy.
actually
You want
happened?
an
Like what
Oh,
actually
okay,
happened to
sure.
RF? Let's give the breakdown first. Like
Sure. Fire Trap's top end damage, specifically the burning ground, not the initial hit, was nerfed by like 16, 17%. Now, what that means is that your single target is nerfed by around 11% because it doesn't affect the initial hit. So the initial hit is the same, which is important for your ignite. So overall, around an 11% damage nerf. Now, with that being said, recombinators are still in the game. And I didn't do a lot of recombinating crafting last league because, I kind of finished with the league in like a month and I kind of just like moved on. But with recombinating staying, you can much easily acquire your like double dot multi amulets with +1, like significantly easier than any other league. I guess with the exception of like Necropolis. And then your scepters. So scepters, the thing about scepters is they made it so all attack mods on scepters are less likely to roll. So I imagine flat fire, flat cold, flat lightning, attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, flat fizz, percent fizz, hybrid fizz, etc. is less likely, which means caster mod should pop up more often, which is very good. They also made it so odd hybrid gear, including weapons. So if it's strength int, for example, it's less likely to roll strength and less likely to roll int. Furthermore, you can no longer roll fire, ice, lightning, or chaos res on your weapons. So that right there, if you look at it, is a total of 6 mods on the suffix. And the suffix is very important because you have fire damage over time multiplier, damage over time multiplier, which are your primary two. The other things are a little bit more advanced. It's not really relevant. So, with that being said, I imagine picking up rare items off the floor is going to feel more impactful for scepters. So many scepters you would try to ID and it's just full fizz mod. It's like, why would I use? I would never use that. So, even if it's not the craziest change, I have to imagine that identifying rare scepters just feels better, right? So, that alone should probably compensate for the damage buffs or the lack of damage on the fire trap. Because just getting the thing is, if you think about it, when you play an RF build, there's 3 primary notables on the tree that give damage over time multiplier: Holy Fire, Acrimony, and Arsonist. Those are your primary 3. If you take those 3 and add them together in simple addition, it's probably, I don't know off the top of my head, 40 to 60%. Then on your gear, you're not going to have that much multi at the beginning, which means you're not even at the 100% multiplier mark. That means you don't really have any diminishing returns to an extent. So getting even just a little bit more multi throughout your early stages of the game will offset the fire trap nerf. For example, a Chaos Golem. The Chaos Golem by himself will give you like 12 multi. That pretty much offsets it because it's buffing your RF and your fire trap. Issue with it, unless you're really investing in the minions, they're going to start to just kind of get wiped off the face of the earth. And like, honestly, the end of white maps, if you're already doing like angry mobs, they're already going to get deleted. Yellow maps, definitely going to somewhat get deleted. Red maps, they're going to just implode, right? So it still evens out the like leveling. I think it'll be okay. I genuinely think it'll be fine, especially when you take into account a mercenary. I feel like your mercenaries can achievably do 1 to 2 million damage with investment. Maybe I'm, missing the mark like crazy, but I feel like they would be okay with something like that.
That's pretty fair. I think you're absolutely right with the minions just falling over in the higher tier content. people had the argument of like animate guardian, everyone's gonna run them. That's what people told me, and I don't think that's the case. Will you run an animate guardian with your RF? Because I don't think you will.
Absolutely not. No. I don't. First off, it's taking gem sockets. I mean, I agree
Yeah.
that the gem socket trade is probably worth it. The problem is if you're not playing a minion build, do you really like you as a player have enough issues not dying? Poor minion. Like the minion without any investment is going to be dying too, right? Like that's kind of just how it is. Maybe I'm incorrect here. You know a lot more about Anime Guardian. Maybe there's like specific loops you could apply on any build across the board. But even if that happens, that's going to get target nerfed, right? Because they're not going to want every single player to just run an Anime Guardian permanently 24/7 with every build, right?
There
Right?
are ways to keeping him alive quite effectively, but it does come with a pretty nasty price tag. I think that people will run that in the higher end if they can pay the socket per cost, right? But I think that what we'll see is less so. People were saying, "Oh, Kingmaker's going to get super expensive." I don't think that's what people will run with it because if someone has enough currency to keep the guy alive, they don't need Kingmaker on an enemy guardian that might die anyways. But what I think we'll see is Magic Find Giga Tank stacking Gravebind AGs.
Okay.
You know the meat sack all flame stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine having an AG that actually manages to survive, and you have
Just,
like I don't know 700-800 rarity just because you have an AG. Like it doesn't matter if you're culling, the AG is gonna be in range because like 4 meter radius and Gravebind, he's gonna be next to this a gazillion modded rare, and then it's gonna be just die, and it's gonna be loot all over the screen. I think that's what we'll see for MF players for meat sack strategies.
I'm just hearing SSF buffs when you say that.
interesting.
SSF buffs.
SF looks awesome.
Yeah. I don't know about King's March though. I think most of the streamers were like, we don't want to see King's March go core. We don't want the
Yeah.
passive income. It becomes a mandatory mechanic. It's not optional. And everyone's like, there's no shot they're making it core. And then in one of the teaser videos, they click on the waypoint and the goddamn King's March icon is there. And I'm like, no, no.
I was hoping that was like just a dev build on the current league or something. You know what I
That's
mean?
what
Like
I
some
thought.
shenanigans.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think so. Because like I think we all 100% thought Gobe's going core, Gamba's probably going core.
Yeah, Faust,
you
Gold
know,
and Faustus are going core, 100%.
100%, maybe the Recombinator, etc. And when they showed the Recombinator at first, which is like, it's now the PoE 2 Recombinator, everyone's like, what? Holy shit. Like, you got, it's that version of it. And then but just kidding. You can also do the PoE 1 version of the Recombinator. It's pretty funny.
No.
But now I kind of had the same reaction. Like, I actually don't like King's March now. I mean, I loved it in the beginning, but then as the boats became like crystal clear how good they are, it's like I actually don't like doing the boats. Like I don't know, maybe you guys like doing it, and I'm not trying to be negative, Nancy. I really don't want to be, but like for me, it's I don't enjoy the process of let me load up these boats, send them somewhere, check back in 45 minutes with a timer or whatever, and see what my loot is. I don't. It's different because someone told me like, oh, well, it's just a league mechanic. You can choose to do it or whatever. But I feel like Pox was saying, it's mandatory because you can run them in tandem. Like when I was starting and learning the game, it's like what I really liked is I can do this league or this league, and you get something specific from each one of the leagues, or you can find a strategy you want to play, and that's what made me fall in love with the game. It's like I can kind of target farm what I want. But the difference now is it's like if I don't run the boats, I'm just objectively getting less than if I decide, okay, I'm just going to do Blight or something. There's always a strategy that's better, but I could, copy my way into being like, okay, I can get, 30% of what the juicers are doing or whatever if I do my own strategy and have fun with it. Or I can do my part of the market if I'm really selling and really worried about the currency. I can take the Blight away and sell that, and that's my niche. But since I can do them at the same time, then that's the issue that arrives for me. I'm not specializing into King's March. It's just, here's your passive income, and if you don't do it, then you're just objectively behind. Or not so much even behind other people, but you're behind yourself.
It feels bad.
Yeah,
it just feels bad.
It feels bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always like instead of shipping out small boats, you can ship out a big boat less often. So like, but it still becomes mandatory. But one of the other things is you need the resources for it. So you need the gold, the ore, the veins, all those things. But most importantly is you're gonna want to have the dust. The dust is a very nice multiplier, especially for the boat runs as well. This means that you either have to specifically target your scarabs to get the dust, or every time you find a bunch of items that you're not going to use, you're not going to vendor them. You have to go from your hideout to King's March to dump them into the Disenchanter. So
There's a
like
third
that's
option.
added as well. Yeah.
There's a new passive Atlas passive, which means you have to
Oh yeah.
allocate it. Which again, that's like the weird thing as well for me is I'm not sure how I like King's March being on the Atlas passive tree because I guess it's kind of like we have to go tangent like back a league when Necropolis came out. They put Atlas passives specifically for Necropolis, and then they said we actually don't like doing this because it feels like everybody wants to take it and it feels forced. And then now we have this league, and King's March isn't the league mechanic, but it went core. But it feels like, if you don't want to do this, you want to take it because you don't want to go and manually like break everything down for dust. But I guess it's more of just like specifically for Recombinator and boats. So I don't know. It's kind of like a weird thing. Gonna have to definitely like feel it out, right? But there's a note that says you get X amount of dust from killing possessed rare monsters. It instantly turns the equipment into dust.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The one other
Yeah.
part is like, so a couple guys in chat when we were sitting here discussing, it was like, well, if you're SSF, like it's not mandatory. You're more talking from like a competitive trade approach. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Like I can, but then the one thing is, but aren't rune graphs only from this? Like they show in the thing that you get the runes that are the rune graphs from the boats. I didn't see them mention that they were world drops or anything else. Maybe I missed that. Maybe that was in the
Tattoos as
Q&A.
well.
No, they're from the boats.
They're from the boats, right? So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so the rune graphs seem pretty big. From what I could see in there. So it's you still kind of have to do it, right? I mean, even
But
if
there's
you
tattoos as
don't,
well.
yeah, I mean, even if you kind of don't care about like, okay, I don't care about the currency, I don't care about being slow or whatever. Like, it seems like a pretty big chunk of your build.
You want to actively ship boats like you do. I mean, the thing
Yeah.
is, so there's another issue here where like one thing I think that I don't really like is the feeling of hopping offline and forgetting to put your gold in the coffer, and then you wake up the next day and you realize nobody in the town has been doing anything because you forgot to put the gold in the coffer. I don't really know a solution to this, but I'm just kind of getting flashbacks of things that annoyed me when I when I was playing through King or Settlers League. So I'm not really sure, right? But boats are definitely like I feel like everyone is going to want to do boats.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, another aspect to it as well is like something I really liked with the reveal was that they took measures on mechanics that made something that was mandatory to not be mandatory, like betrayal, for example.
True.
I don't know. I think most
True.
of us started every league with whatever you wanted to do, but you always took a few points into making sure June existed so you could start ramping up your bench crafts.
True.
No matter what you did, you had a few points invested in there till you got the crafts you wanted or all of them. Then you can move away from it. That's no longer the play. You don't have to do that anymore, which I think is a great change because now we're back to what you were talking about, DM, when you started playing. You choose to play that mechanic, you'll do that. You choose to play that mechanic, you'll do that. And King's March just feels to me like it's just forced into it, and that's why most of us didn't want it. So I was very surprised that they even included it to the core. Like I get the idea of it and the story and everything. Like it sounds pretty cool and whatnot. I think a lot of people liked it. But
I like everything about it except the boats. Honestly, it's just the boats for me. Like I'm fine with like it being there, the Recombinator, the other the Faustus. No, that's all cool. It's just the boats specifically. Like I really don't want to manage these and do the spreadsheet on which one goes where and all that. It just seems like a little much to me. But I guess I could just avoid it and just not use rune crafts and just play the game regardless anyway. But besides the King's March, I think the biggest thing in the update for me is 3 new pinnacle bosses. Like
yeah.
Watching the race to that is going to be really enjoyable.
Yeah,
it's going to be very fun.
I completely forgot about those. I'll be honest. I was too busy just reading the patch notes and forgot about the new, like all the new content. There's so much. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, GG's always done this, right? They have a track record history that makes everyone they set the bar so high that everyone's expecting it to be so high. And despite it being that high, they still blow it away. And I think that's so cool to see from every big expansion that they do. They still manage to just completely stump us despite the bar being so high and the expectations are brutal.
Yep.
I think that's pretty cool.
I made a YouTube video covering like changes and stuff, mainly with RF, but changes. And I completely left out the whole expansion because I forgot about it. Like what's the one now you instead of Atlas Memories, you have this whole new thing? I completely forgot. I left it all out because I'm going over the patch notes, the changes, the betrayal rework, the mercenary system, how you go about the mercenary system, other, systems removed, King's March going core, 3 new pinnacle bosses, and then I just forgot about like the build up to the pinnacle bosses and what you're supposed to do now.
The whole like thread thing where you go through.
Yeah, the
And
whole thread thing. I
yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
about. I
Memory
completely left
strands.
it out. Yeah.
I like this thread system. That was really cool as well. I've never liked the idea of, hey, I'm just gonna whatever the seer thing is, whatever that's called, to get the
Nameless
div
seer?
cards on that one map. Yeah. To scrying the map I want to run, and then I'll only run one map for the next 4 months now. That was a fantastic change. 4-month leagues, 2 months PoE1, 2 months PoE2, rinse repeat. I love that.
What do you think the
But
odds are of sticking to that? By the way, like, yeah, you think that's because that's a good announcement, but like, do you actually, or we actually buying every 2 months we're getting? Because I mean, every 2 month would be amazing. We get because 2 months, that means full 2 months, full time PoE1, then full time PoE2. You could go back and forth pretty evenly at that point.
I think that they're gonna do it with a +-2 weeks time frame with the holidays and whatnot. I think that's what we're looking at, and I still think that is something that's very important, especially after publicly announcing it like this, that they stick to it for a variety of reasons. But I think that's going to be very healthy for the game to do it that way. And I mean, it's good for all gamers, and not to hide it under a rug, I think it's fantastic for us content creators as well.
I think that the quality of the updates may go down a little bit at first, just because of the schedule they're trying to fit, especially with Jonathan talking about how they're changing their release structure, where they want to confirm dates now, and if they can't put everything in that update, it'll just come out later versus delaying and delaying. So I think it will definitely be maybe a little rough at the beginning, but I think that they want to do it. Like you can clearly, I always talk about this, but you can see the passion behind the devs at GGG and how they do learn from their mistakes, even if it's sometimes, take one step forward and 4 steps backward. Not every time it's like that. It's just sometimes like that. And you gotta make those mistakes to learn from the mistakes, right? So I really think they want to take the action to do that. And I'm gonna see what they can do.
Yeah, they said in I forget, I think it was the talk of the interview, that they're locking the dates, right, instead of the
Yeah.
actual items, like they're going into the dates, and that's probably the
Yep.
way to do it.
Yeah, because people
No.
take time off for things, right? Like
Yeah.
people want to schedule like, oh, I'm gonna take time off work so I can play PoE League. Sorry guys, it's delayed. Yo, boss, you're fired. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
No,
saw
that's definitely a thing.
they also like basically announced the next PoE2 league date too, because he said August.
Yeah. He said August, and then he said October, so that PoE2 gets a December release. In if they continue to stick into it, and Jonathan has said that PoE2 will launch on hopefully December. Worst case, March is the current scope for the scheduling. Whether or not they will have all the classes, all the features in there by that time. He said that worst case they'll launch the game and introduce the last classes or class afterwards. So, I mean, with this, we might actually see a PoE2 launch in December as well. That's pretty wild. I still think it'll be in March, but schedule-wise, I think it's looking very promising for everyone.
I would be very surprised if it's this year, specifically because of how much content is still missing. I mean, we've had one of the 5 additional classes need to come to the game. Of course, they did say that they could launch it without all the classes. I mean, who knows? Maybe they have one more class and then the 4 other classes come over time. But I'd be pretty surprised still if it arrives this year. Though the changes, they're still delivering pretty big patches. I know with all the PoE1 hype, it's hard to probably dip in and look at the PoE2 stuff. But they actually launched it the same day yesterday. Launched a pretty large patch for PoE2 as well.
What's up with that, dude? I was so focused on PoE1, and then someone linked me and said, "Oh, look, big patch PoE2," and I'm like, I cannot cope. I cannot handle going through and updating in being PoE1 and getting my guides done, focusing fully on PoE2. I didn't even finish the PoE2 guides, the patch notes, before they were like, "Oh, look, here's a pretty damn big PoE2 patch." And I'm gonna read that too? No, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. I did not like that they posted it that close. I think they should have delayed it a day or something.
I love it, dude. Rush them out. Right? Don't delay anything. Just run. Give me all the updates as soon as they're ready, is what I say.
I think they've just gone with the philosophy of we got to just throw things out when they're ready. We can't, because the problem that happens is when you delay something and you're managing 2 games, there comes a point when you delay too many times and now it affects the other game. And I think they're going to
Yeah.
try their absolute best, even if it hurts them. And this is maybe an extreme example with, like you said, the PoE 2 update literally coming out within, I don't know, 12 hours of the patch notes. But I think they're just trying to prevent that at all costs, because once they get in that scenario, something has to go. Something's got to give, right? Because they're not going to release expansions, 2 weeks from each other. Again, extreme example, but they're trying to prevent that as much as possible, because I genuinely think that's a big part of why PoE 1 got delayed so much. Is, oh, now is a good time to work on it. Yeah, but our PoE 2 update's supposed to come out. Yeah, but it's a good time to work on it. Yeah, but the PoE 2 update, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Who
I
you
mean,
got?
then again, we also have the fact that there are people out there that only play one or the other. Not
exactly.
everyone plays both.
Yep,
So
very fair point.
Who do you guys put on winning the hardcore SSF boss rush event that's coming? Because they're doing a race now. They're doing an official race for the new pinnacle bosses. Who you got your money on?
I mean, seeing Ty coming, well, allegedly Ty 23 coming back to
Exactly.
PoE 2. If he touches it, I think he'll win. Um, I mean, Ben seems to be like the fan favorite, right?
Yeah,
Um,
Ben is a fan favorite. He gets my win. But I don't
I'm
really pay too much
I'm
attention to the scene.
I'm a huge fan of both Junggrown and Tai Tai personally. I just like the way they race, and especially Jung, because like he always the way he plays it, it's not always it's always different, and I like the way Jung approaches races. I'm a big Jung fan when it comes to racing. So, but yeah, Ben seems to be pretty high up there. I'm XL is pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, MXL's
I
very
mean, we
good.
have fantastic race. I was talking about this before a couple of days ago on stream. Like I used to race back in the day. I mean, I have a few titles under my belt, and then people
Really?
asked me why I wasn't racing. Yeah, I did pretty fucking well back in the day, but before SSF became the norm and we had like party races and hardcore.
So you're something of a
And
scientist yourself, is what you're telling me here.
I mean, I explained that the difference between a new player and a great racer back then is like it's miles between those two in terms of how good you are. And I was a great racer, but you can triple that distance, and that gets you the difference between what a great racer is and the pro racers. Like there's no comparison. They're like I'm literally a toddler in comparison to the pro racing, and I would never compete. Like even if I practiced, I would never be like I wouldn't even be competitive. It's such an insane difference.
The
People are
whole
It is.
saving half a second because of how they move their cursor. Like that's the point we're at in PoE racing. It's insane.
I'm just hearing like, back in your day, you used to be able to throw that football over the hills. Like that's what I'm hearing here.
I mean, for going back in the day, I have a few number one wins. I think I have a few demigods.
Huh?
No
I
shit.
definitely, I know on YouTube I have number one endless ledge. Yeah, actually, it
Yeah.
was pretty common that every single league for like maybe 3 or 4 leagues, I would get number one on the HC ladder on league starts, but it was only for like 4 hours. It was because Chamber of Sins was OP, because Chamber of Sins, I'm talking about like in the campaign in Merciless difficulty, I think. When you get to that power creep, I was playing Fire Trap. And I would play Fire Trap Scion or Fire Trap Shadow. There's no ascendancies back then, right? So
Mm.
you pick up every single blue scepter and ID till you get +1 fire. Yeah, that's what it was. And a +1 fire scepter lasted you from like level 12 to level until your character died, probably. Like it was just so strong. Like item acquisition back then was a lot rarer than it is now. So the upgrades would feel so much more impactful. But you get to Chamber of Sins and you would just farm the blue packs and then reset the zone, farm the blue pack, reset the zone, farm the blue packs, and I would just shoot up on ladder every time. It's fun.
No.
And then
It
people get the
is.
maps, and then I'd fall behind.
Yeah, I checked one of my oldest characters. My first level 100 character is 4,100 days old.
Oh, let me go. I'll go check mine. Let's see.
But you played before me. You must have something like 4.5, 5,000.
Yeah, well, let's see, because I exclusively played HC. You played HC a lot back then too. So my first level
Yeah.
100s are in hardcore.
Yeah, mine was in standard. My first 100. I remember vividly because you had to farm level 78 palace maps. And I remember clicking a strong box which had a crit and Ice Nova, and I watched half my party at one shot at level 99. And you know how long time that took back then. It was like half a day worth of grinding gone for them. I'll never forget that.
You
My
guys,
first level 100, 3,108 days ago, actually.
But that's in hardcore. That's pretty damn good. Back then, holy shit.
you have
Yeah,
a
games changed. I mean, the item acquisition back then is honestly quite similar to the item acquisition in PoE 2.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
DM, here's my weapon I leveled to 100 with in hardcore.
let me see this. Okay, so it's just
Is she
all
just
right.
crank?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just +1, and that's the only thing that matters, or
No, bro. So it was a CI build, and I was block based, so I had like Rumi's concoction. And anytime I'd block, I have a chance to trigger energy shield recharge. And because I was an occultist,
oh shit,
it wouldn't get delayed for 4 seconds. That was also coincidentally the league I fished 105,000 monkfish in RuneScape. Because I would open up a breach and I would hit Abyssal Cry, and the game would freeze for 5 seconds. So I clicked the monkfish, and then I would tab back in, and then the screen exploded.
I'm actually fishing right now. So you know what's perfect about it is how good Blythe is directly correlates to how much experience I get that league.
Oh, okay.
So if hopefully Blythe is very good and enjoyable this time, because that means my RuneScape character is going to be getting more gains than my PoE character.
Holy.
I want to be part of the cool kids club as well. You guys are fishing in RuneScape. I'm slapping a dummy in Tibia right now on my sorcerer. So
there you go.
I'm gonna throw that out there.
It's one of the only old school MMOs I haven't played. Oh, okay. So I have a question for you guys. I wanted to ask: do you think, because some people in the chat were saying they think so, do you think that the PoE 1 gets a new peak concurrent player count? Do you think that's going to happen? Because you have
PoE 1?
In PoE 1, because it's the first expansion in 300 days, or first league in 300 days, first expansion I've even been in the game for, to give you an idea. Then you have PoE 2 that has launched, which puts some more eyes on PoE 1, and maybe you get some crossover. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to stay. It doesn't mean it's going to be the best audience retention, but in terms of eyeballs on the name Path of Exile, you think we're seeing a new peak?
I feel like it's an absolute
so.
yes.
Yeah. I think the peak will definitely be there. Longevity, like retention, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But definitely a peak. Like every time they have had their biggest peaks has been through their big expansions, and this is one of those. On the other hand, their previous expansions have hit during, December holidays, which is a better day to do it on. But no, I definitely think we'll see some big peaks. For sure.
Here's another very relevant question. What the hell is your shirt, guys? Why does it say Borg? Is that a Star Trek shirt? What am I? It just says Borg.
You don't know what this is?
No, is that a brand, or is it since 19? It's just got to be a brand.
You don't know who Bjorn Boy is?
No. There's
Really?
Wait, hold on. Before you roast me for being a Pox, you know what the hell his shirt is about?
No, I was gonna make a reference about how he's been assimilated since that time.
But that would have been a good one. I like that. Okay, so you're gonna explain it?
It's a Swedish. It's Bjorn Boy is a Swedish tennis player.
Really? Okay.
Basically, Sweden's best tennis player ever, and he made a clothing brand, and I like their clothing. It's really nice. But no, he's like super fucking famous. How do you not know this?
It's a Swedish tennis player. What the fuck? You're
Bjorn Borg?
I mean, the brand is big as fuck.
Me and Pox both know this. You can't just roast me for this. Our lovely guest is in the same page here. I share the blame. I'm not familiar.
Okay.
I spend my day playing video games.
Yeah, I live under a rock. I don't know anything. It's great.
I'm not a big fan of tennis, but I like the brand.
Okay, I was thinking.
But like Salming. You know who Salming is?
Nope.
Mm-hmm. We're Americans. Dude.
I told you I'd live under a rock.
But he play. I mean, that's an ice hockey player. Okay. There's also some brands say, but it's mostly ice hockey.
I mean, if you say Gretzky, I would have known that hockey player. I've heard that name once.
Does Gretzky even have a clothing brand?
I don't know. Yeah, most of my clothes people bought for me, bro. I don't remember the last time I bought my own pair of clothes. I'm wearing pajama bottoms right now, dude. You're
I mean, you're
expecting me to
close
know
enough to
clothing brands?
Canada to know more about hockey.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a good hockey team actually up here in Alaska. Like hockey's a thing. I've never been a big hockey fan. I mean, like I say, I know that one of the names. Never been a big hockey guy. I know who Michael Jordan is. So, I can
Michael Jordan
participate
is,
in
okay.
some conversations. I mean, I know that's a very relevant name these days.
Yeah,
Either way.
I know.
My bad. I got this
These are
way
like
off
Hall of Fame people.
I got this way off the path of exile track because I was getting distracted by the shirt. I'm gonna
Okay.
bring us right back. You ready? You ready for this segue? Okay. So speaking of
I'm ready.
things that you wear, items in Path of Exile. You like that? Okay.
Oh,
so there.
That's a good one.
You
Yeah.
like that?
I had one too. I had one too for you.
Okay. What's your segue?
Yeah, because he was talking about the Hall of Fame. So speaking of the Path of Exile Hall of Fame,
Oh.
what is MP's character in Hall of Grandmasters called again? Like the wall, he just one shots
Isn't it
you.
GG
Well,
Noobs?
GG
GG
Noobs. Yeah,
Noobs.
GG Noobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, GG Noobs. That's good.
I
Okay.
killed it. I killed
Killed
it. Yeah, but I got it spawned on the first row.
Oh, okay.
So
I
it doesn't
haven't been
count.
back. I haven't been back in Hall of Grandmasters for a long time. Back when I was doing it was Ultimatum League, and the wall for me, I think it was a face breaker build. Like it was a guy who would he was max block, max spell block, took literally no damage, and he would just like shield charge you and punch. And if he punched you, you were just dead. Like you were gone. And if that didn't kill you, you'd bleed out. It was wild.
Hall of Grandmaster was the first unique map I ever got. So it was also the first thing I ever got from, I got the Twilight key or whatever. So it was my first playthrough, Shield Crush. I have like 200k DPS, feeling myself. I go there and it's like, oh, I got my first unique. And it's like a fucking foil map and it's Hall of Grandmaster. And then the chat's like, oh, you got to run it. Like, congratulations. I'm like, oh, I got it good. You like my first unique map. And it's my first Twilight key or whatever. So I got foil Hall of Grandmaster and immediately got shit on.
Yeah.
It's a rough map, dude.
Okay, so back to my
Has anyone
segue
killed
here.
GG Noobs. Sorry.
Enough of the GG Noobs. Fuck the GG Noobs. I have a better question for you. Okay, back to items. The whole you get the memory. What the fuck they call it? The Weaver's Will. Okay, let's call it what it is that you get on the items. All right. So the what you guys think about now? You have this like forging potential that goes over an item, which can upgrade the stats of your gear. How you feel about Last Exile?
Dude, I was so scared when they showed it off because the fact that they had a Shaper, Elder, and Minion helmet on the screen when they showcased it. I was like, no, what are you doing? Like, for those of you who don't know, that those influences on that specific helmet has been like the trademark mirror item that most minion builds have utilized for the past, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years. And it's been like the thing that I've always done. But I think it's cracked. Especially the one that consumes it to upgrade tiers. Mm-hmm. I'm like, God, I wish I had that the last few years. I think it's insane.
Did they say if you can reapply it? Like, can you like have it upgrade the tier and then reapply and upgrade the tier?
It takes from the forging potential, right?
Yeah.
And you can simply buy another one to add forging potential, and then you can buy the one to consume it. So the thing I think they'll end up doing with it is maybe they'll give it a chance so it doesn't upgrade anything, and then has a chance.
You can only apply to normal items, though.
Well, you can't apply to influence at all on that one?
No, you can only apply to a normal rarity item. If it's influence or not, doesn't matter. But as soon as it's magic or rare, you can't give it more forging potential.
Okay, got it.
I didn't know that part. So I was kind of
makes a lot more sense.
I was thinking like, aren't all items going to be tier 1? Like everyone's got mirror items sitting around their bank.
I was like, there can't be the case.
You would have loved Harvest League. You would have loved Harvest League, man. Everyone had 61s on everything. Those were good days. That was fun.
How do you like the Recombinator coming back?
I like it. Clarification. I like that we're getting the PoE 2 Recombinator because I just really enjoy that it's a system that it is what it is. There is no hidden thing in the background. There is no secret mathematical equation. You select the mod, you select the other mod. Here's the result. You don't get it. Sucks to suck. The regular recombinator, I'm really torn about it because it's so strong at crafting basically everything, and it kind of overshadows a lot of other forms of crafting. However, with that being said, there are some items in Path of Exile that are just so difficult to craft. And when you're playing SSF, you just literally can't get them. Like you're just at the mercy of RNG and there's nothing you can do about it. The recombinator, yes, it's overpowered, is a way to acquire those items. And what I like about it is you can acquire them realistically at like say a 2 to 3 property. So aiming for a 2 to 3 property item is very realistic. And as you get higher up, for sure, it's still realistic. It just gets harder and harder and harder to acquire. So it's like a double-edged sword. I like it because it allows me to acquire things I normally couldn't. I dislike it because it's definitely going to overshadow a lot of different things. So yeah.
There's two things that come to mind. Oh, sorry, guys. You want to go?
No, you go ahead.
So there's two things that come to mind with the PoE 2 version of the Recombinator. So, okay, one of it is like in PoE 2, the Recombinator, where you just have 2 items in the stat line when you're done recombinating, make a lot more sense because Exalts are like common. They're like, you get a lot of them, okay? So you're getting 2 and then you're slamming 4 mods on. Like Exalts and PoE 1 are like expensive and more rare, right? So like you're not really going to like recombinate and then like slam 4 Exalts, right? I guess you could craft other ways or something or do like the crafting bench, etc. But like that part was like, okay, that's interesting. But the part that's really more interesting for me is, does it carry the same fracture tech? I don't know how the PoE 1 Recombinator mechanically actually works. I never really messed around much with the Recombinator in PoE 1, but in PoE 2, okay, if you fracture something and you transfer the base, the fracture can go with it. So you can manipulate that. You can actually bring a free one from the fracture of an item to another item by purposely targeting bad mods, so you have like a really high percentage chance to move the fracture, etc., or have one really high mod that you want to like almost guarantee going, combine it with a low tier mod and something else, and then pair the two as well. So it's actually kind of, it's like, okay, I wonder how that's going to play into PoE 1, because now you got this kind of fracture tech. Again, it could already work this way in PoE, you know, 1 for the OG Recombinator, I'm not sure.
Manipulating
the fracture mod stays on the item that is chosen. So if you do the PoE 1 old school recom and you smack them together, it's a 50-50 which base is chosen. And if whichever base is chosen, if that base has a fracture mod, that is guaranteed kept on it. I just think that the problem with it is that it incentivizes doing that more than anything. So look at Spectre builds, for example. You want to have a +1 Spectre chest in most builds. The way you would do it is you either get a fractured really good mod on a good piece, or you buy a chest that has the mod you want, and then you buy a shit piece that happens to have the +1 Spectre, and then there are ways to manipulate the odds a little bit, and you smack it together, you pray you get that one mod that you wanted from that good piece on that piece, like a Val Regalia or a Twilight Regalia these days, for example, and then just pray the +1 Spectre moves in there, and then you craft in that. And that just means that the items and drops are on the ground is kind of whatever, because they're only going to be shoved into the recom. The recom is going to be used for most item crafting, and I just feel like it just diminishes the value of most type of crafting. I don't mind the PoE 2 version of it because of the simple fact that, you know, there's some odds around there. You can manipulate a little bit with fracture mods, sure, but it doesn't feel as strong as the old version of recom, which I think is really, really strong. And I think it's too much, because of how it minimizes or diminishes the value or incentive for using the other crafting methods. And in PoE 1, there's, last I counted, about 7,000 different crafting methods. And it might be a little off there, but about 7,000 last I checked. And most of them just gets shoved out the window because of recoms. That's how I feel about it. On the other hand, it incentivizes using item filters to look at specific type of items with certain mods. So, I mean, there's value in that. Casual players can now sell shit items that happen to have one good mod people want in recom, I guess. What was the name of that chest people used for, what's it, animate weapon? Cloak of Tarmarile or something?
The one that, I know what you're talking about. It makes some item classification or rarity drop like way more common, or
No, it's the one that makes a drop identified.
Oh, sorry, that one. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So people ran that chest for magic finding, and then they had a filter. So like any +1 amulets would light up, and it was, like, you use it for recoms. That's the only purpose behind it, and it's super good because like those things actually sell for money because of recoms, as an example. But yeah, people did that, so blue items would actually drop identified. They would actually look at them, but the filter would be very, very strict for specific modifiers. I don't know. I'm not a fan of recom at all. It feels. I'm not a Soul 7 player. I'm sure the Soul 7 players would like that a lot more because it offers you a bit more targetability, I guess, for what you want. But from a trade league perspective, I feel like it's too much, and not everyone engages with it enough to learn it, and therefore you have this discrepancy between people who do use it versus the ones who don't use it, and it just gets kind of weird. And we've already had it for 84 years. I don't want to have it for another 4 months.
I agree, right? I agree. I'm just a selfish player, so for me, I just like it because literally items I normally could not acquire, a double dot multi amulet with +1 fire. That's not hard to make with recall. Trying to get that by yourself, that you're not getting that. Like, that's not happening. Or a +1/+1 scepter with damage over time multi, and then I just multi-mod it. These are items that basically don't exist unless I have fractured bases, which is a very long grind in itself, right? So just for those reasons, but I completely agree that I don't like that it overshadows almost everything in almost every regard, right? And one note for you, DM, actually, it's a good thing. 2-mod items are very strong in PoE. It depends on the type of item, but 2-mod items plus multi-mod is 2 more mods, so it's 5-modded item. Now, obviously, you lose one, but multi-modding is very, very good. So, like, say I take a scepter, right, and I use the PoE 2 version of Recombinate,
Sure.
and I get T3 dot multi, so maybe it's like 18% or 20%, and I don't know what +1 fire would be. Maybe it's a 20%, maybe it's a 15. Merge it together. Now I have a +1 fire with dot multi, and now I can multi-mod fire multi fire damage, right?
Yeah.
So it very good, like very good. That's something I would use all the way to like 100. Of course, that's like a niche example, but it's nice that because we have so many different ways to craft in PoE 1, everything is just, I know there's just more ways to do stuff.
How do you feel about because the juicing seems kind of crazy. People were saying when I was watching the review, they think it's going to be the juiciest league of all time. In fact, they said it in the review where they said, it's going to be some of the juiciest maps ever seen. You got like the powers where it makes it where it only drops currency. For instance, like I remember me and you, what was it? I think it was me and you, Pox, were playing a league, or I think it was Necropolis League, right? Where you would purposely have rogue exiles, and then you'd have the thing where, like, they only drop chaos orbs or whatever, and it was a tech to get a bunch of chaos orb drop. You remember that tech?
Necro Settlers, and we were having fun with the chaos mod, and we were what was it? We were doing something really funny on the market that no one else was doing in hardcore, and it was super good at low level. It had something to do with dropping chaos, and
It
we
was
were
like
in
converted drops to chaos orbs and rogue exiles.
yeah, and then we used rogue exiles for it to
these.
spawn more. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it
So
was
like
fun. It was cool.
that's what came to my mind when I saw it, because it's like, okay, it can only it can't drop items. Like you have the power mixer where it can't drop items, and you have the one where mixer like drops twice or whatever. So you think this is gonna be juicier than Affliction League?
I think it'll be comparable to an extent, but the problem is like Affliction was pretty crazy. To be fair, Necropolis was crazy. I dropped 2 Mage Bloods. I'm not a Magic Finder. I definitely think that under the right circumstances, because of how the new memory system works, we're going to see like ridiculous drops on some ends and then maybe like more evenly balanced. But I think it's going to be crazy. Like, I think some regard is going to be crazy to it. One thing I'm not excited about is I don't mind the extra hotkeys to press the skills. But the problem is like my build has a giant circle around me that will implode screens because of explode chaining. So I have to like bring a flask to turn off my righteous fire, so I can like,
Yeah,
press the button. Because you played RF Chieftain, right?
Yeah, I played RF for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you get your Ignite Prolif set up, like everything just pops. So like that's gonna be a weird one.
I'm gonna play Mage Skeletons. I summon them, and then two screens away, things are dead.
Yeah,
I don't even get close to them. It's like once I have the gear up on my build, I will barely see enemies on my screen. It's like, and that's if I summon. I could stop summoning them, sure, but if you play like perma minions or like specters, they do the same thing. Rich Defile shoots off 1.5 screens away. Shit's dead before I see it. When I go to the next screen, there's just loot on the ground. Like, when am I gonna use them? But I mean, there are ways around it. Well, not for specters, but some mini builds there's ways around it. But I don't know how you would fix that though, because it is fundamentally completely against certain builds, like righteous fire explosion builds, permanent damage output builds, death oath minions or perma minions. I don't know what other things, totem builds, I guess. Like if you click the button, the things are gonna die within his wherever they're hitting.
Okay, I have an idea. It's a wild take, and I don't know much about it. What if everything is delayed by one map? Because like you're supposed to you farm it, right? And then you can use it in the same map, right? You kill the
Yeah, they
mobs,
like
you build it
stack
up.
from one to the other is what it was
So
saying, right?
what if you clear your map and on killing the map boss and any mobs killed after, all of what you earned is immediately available in the next map in the memory because it's like a chain, right? And then once you're in the next map, you just click a button and just like Wildwood, it would randomly buff stuff, right? Now again, that you couldn't target it, but it would just hit everything that's available, right? Not on the screen, but like it would just do its natural thing.
Yeah.
And then that works for literally every build. Downside, you don't get the dopamine of like pressing the button, debuffing all the mobs, getting the loot. And that's, I'll be honest, that's a big part of it, right? Like hitting a
Yeah.
Pandemonium Sentinel in a giant shrine pack and it just zaps everything and then you explode and you get loot. So I can see that.
Well, I had this issue with Sentinel League. I never liked it. Every build I played just made the Sentinels kind of like they're not relevant because the shit's dead before it pops. So I could pop the Sentinel, finish the map, and I still have charges on my Sentinel left. It's like, okay, well, I guess I got nothing out of it.
So it's a
I don't know.
ZDPS buff. The worse your build is, the better this
It
is
is
for you.
So I mean, we've always had this take in PoE where the less you see on the screen, the better your build is. And now apparently we're adding the idea that the less DPS you rebuild do, the better the build is.
I love it.
I like that.
Buff for us boys. The bottom of the floor is coming closer to the ceiling, boys. That's what I love to hear.
What if
Here's
you
an
have
indirect buff to RF?
But what if you have a ZDPS build that can still clear screens at a time? Then you get screwed over on both realities. That's me.
Is it truly ZDPS then if you're clearing screens?
Yeah, because my skill doesn't do damage. My ascendancy does. It's not even a skill. I can't put support gems on it. Like,
all right, yeah,
that
true.
reminds me like the Guardian, the Pocket Pox is what I call him, the Radiant Crusade.
Other boy.
My Pocket Pox. Yeah. I've always said that is the strongest ascendancy node in the entire game. Is once you have access to the first lab, the Guardian clicks that button, then you just shield charge, Frostblink, Convocate with the Convocation CDR, and you do that all the way to like yellow tier maps before you have to do something else. And on bosses, the guy has a 100% chance to taunt. You're not never in any danger. He taunts everything. He doesn't die, and he does tons of damage. It is the single most strongest node in the entire game, and I call it Pocket Pox. So
I want to play Guardian this league.
Dude, Guardian
plus
if you get the Guardian plus the Mercenary, then you got two big boys. The other part about the Mercenary we didn't talk about was, didn't they say the Mercenary counts as half a player, like for the sake of partying? So doesn't that quite significantly juice the loot for SSF once again? Because, I mean, you could never get that buff previously, right?
It's a quantity and rarity multiplier. That, by the way, is where I'm hoping that because of this, they've already taken into account that mercenaries have to contribute in some level of damage, right? Like if you're building a DPS merc, they have to at least be able to offset what they're hurting you with, and ideally doing more, assuming you're gearing them, right?
I think a lot of people are neglecting or never really thought about the fact that they do count as half a player, which means that not only do they bring the magic fan stat, but they will increase the HP of the enemies.
Yeah,
the enemies will have more life if you're using a mercenary, and I don't think I've heard anyone talk about that. Like you'll get the bonuses, but enemies will have more life. That's gonna happen. It's not a lot of more life. Well, what is it? Is it 100% more on unique bosses per player? So a merc is 50% more life for unique target. That's a lot. Like
don't worry, mercs are gonna be cracked 100%. Dude, my mercs gonna do like 10 mil DPS day one.
How though? Like this is the part I'm curious about. It's like, is it because you're basically just doing a whole second build? Like I don't know.
So
without the passive, be able to set the passive tree. Like how are you gonna?
So the merc's got his own scaling, right? So first off, step one, you find the archetype that either A, synergizes with your build, assuming you're looking for a DPS merc. This is my goal, right?
Sure.
So maybe I look for a fire-based merc because I set enemy fire res to -20, right?
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily have to be it. I could technically work with any merc because I use punishment, and punishment makes anything take increased damage at low life. Step 2, are they dying? Like, is it like how can I keep the merc alive? Because I'm going to be using enduring cry on bosses, so I'm taunting. Like, what type of merc is it? Next up, loot filter. Figure out what, look at that merc skills, get on my loot filter. That's my second build, right? I am handcrafting gear for that merc.
Got it.
Like, I'm gonna give it like a 800. I don't actually know what weapons roll DPS, but insane DPS, whether LE, fizz weapon, caster weapon, stack cast, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go all out on that merc because I'm not gonna do anything else with the other gear anyway. And that's kind of the goal, is see where they can go. I don't think they're gonna be like a clear speed machine or anything. That's unrealistic, I think, right? Because now you have to have like AI pathfinding and what they're doing. All I want the thing to do is hit the single target. Like, there's just one target, is hit that target. That's it.
So the part,
I feel like that's.
But the part that I run into is like, okay, like, I get what you're saying, but then the reality of hitting, you have to have the support gyms and everything line up too. So it's like, unless is it truly RNG, or do they have prefab setups of the skills with like the correct supports? Because if it's prefab, it's like, okay, you can probably get like something.
I think it's that.
Okay, because if it's RNG, then it's like, holy shit, the reality is, like, actually hitting the right ones you need is like almost impossible. And then you're just going to be settled with, okay, well, he has 2 auras that kind of help, and then you're just done.
So here's what I think, and this is all speculation. I assume, so I think they said there's like 30 archetypes, maybe it was 15.
Right.
I thought he said the word 30.
Okay.
Of those archetypes, I imagine 90% of that archetype is going to be the same. Like, it's just literally going to be copy pasted. I feel like it's not actually, but that's my guess. Okay. And then the 10% would be the golden supports, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's aura variety within there. And I think that the golden supports, they seemed huge. Like, Vigilant Strike literally said, like, when you use Vigilant Strike, your allies get fortified too. Yeah. So I feel like once you find the archetype you want, and then you find maybe a golden support for it, you just start to commit with like the gear upgrades and kind of see where they go. I'm not really sure. I mean, the fact that they want you to like rotate the mercenaries makes me feel like they're more static and there's not as much changing outside the gear, but I really don't know.
I'm just.
On the other hand, though, you can have 6-player party with 3 mercenaries and 6 animate guardians, and you can have all of them play minion builds.
Wait, can you actually
fill the screen?
Can you actually have the mercenaries and the players?
You have 6 players and 6 mercs.
So it's a huge buff to party play.
Because it counts.
No,
it was 6 even. 6. Yeah, right. That's what's that. So 6 players, 6 mercs, 6 AGs, and you can have your merc be a summoner using its minions, and then you run your own minions. Like, I'm gonna be real. I gotta talk to Starforge because I don't think Starforge PCs can even handle that. And they got the best pieces in the universe.
Well, with the exclamation mark Starforge PCs, the one in chat, the one that they're currently having.
Yeah, my command is exclamation mark Starforge. I don't have Starforge PCs in my command, so just throwing that out there. Be
nicely done.
And make sure the command works in both channels.
Sure got PayPal information updated here. Nicely done.
I mean, it's going to be fun, though. But speaking of party play and ADs and whatnot, the Empyreans group.
I was going to say, his videos are going to go hard this league, dude.
So we dropped Empyreans group's going to be fun. In the league using this strat.
So that's going to be fun. It's also going to be fun to see. I think Fubgun, for example, like the whole Magic Find stuff, I think it's going to be like, I'm not sure about the Merc, but I think the AG tech with Meat Sack is going to be there. Gravebind, Rarity. Like, I think those Empyreans group, whatever they're doing with the Merc stuff, and then Fubgun stuff with the Magic Find, I think those two are going to be like the big, like, juicy farm strats that we're going to see in the coming weeks.
I mean, probably, but I mean, yeah, you're right. But I also, like, I when I saw it, I was just thinking SSF looks like it's going to be really fun this league. Like, that was why I was coming across. Because you get to play Pokemon, you get to try to catch them all, get the different mercenaries, use them to help out your build. You got the memory strands, so you can actually make like decent gear. There's new bosses to try to pursue for. I'm actually kind of.
Yeah, we got to do a private league. Me and you. We both play supports, and the mercs have to carry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was something
100%.
Someone said, Chad, like day one during the reveal was you just know that would be the best content. How far can the mercenary
100%.
get you? Absolutely.
Yes.
No,
wait. Link support, I go like aura support and then curse support. And we're just like, and you're at the mercy of the AI. Like,
you're just a link bot linking your mercenary. Yeah, dude.
I'd be down for that, but we'd have one Link supporter, one curse bot, one aura
And
bot.
one
You know,
aura
like the good old days in the hardcore
Okay.
racing.
Perfect.
Hardcore racing, you had a curse bot, you had a mana guardian, and then you had an
Oh,
aura bot on
mana
top of that,
guardians.
and then
Yeah.
like curse bot, mana guardian, aura bot, and then you had your carry as like the main part of the team. That was the main part of it, and then you had sometimes a debuffer, buffer, whatever. And that's kind of like the main core of the team you ran for racing back then. That would be so fun to do.
You don't get the mercenaries till the maps, though, right? Like you don't.
No, I thought they were in the campaign.
Are they?
Maybe I'm dumb.
Chat
Sure,
will
they're in the
correct us. All
campaign.
right, are they in the campaign or in game only? Because I thought they were.
Usually, League mechanics they put in the campaign, and
Because that would be
expansions
fire
are more
if they're
for
in the campaign.
later.
That'd be
Yeah.
fantastic, dude. I wonder how much of this, because you know how they're kind of like going from like PoE 2 and PoE 1, like they're kind of putting these systems together, and then this is kind of like Rogue Exiles in a way from PoE 2. You know, it's the same PoE 1, obviously, but you have like the preset ones, etc. And they talked about how that was original. Didn't they mention that in one of the interviews? They talked about how originally that was a system they were going to implement, and now they're actually doing it in PoE 1. So I wonder if we get the same system from PoE 1 going into PoE 2 later on as a mechanic. Because, I mean, they seem to be kind of copy-pasting a lot of stuff back and forth. Ziggy said in Act 1. Okay, there we go. We got confirmation. So, I mean, since Mudfly... Dude, so could, day one of the league, how far can I get with mercenaries? You know what I mean? Straight up support build from the beginning.
You know, my right-hand man for guides, written guides in PoE 2, Lolash, he is the guy who made the cheerleader champion build, which we later turned into minion build. Oh yeah, no. It is ridiculous. It is a war. It's a banner support character, and it is hilariously cool. So I'd be 100% down to doing something like that. Did you guys see the champion changes in the patch notes? Like, did you pay attention to them?
No,
it's
I
the
haven't looked.
fortification one, right? You're talking about the
Oh,
fortification
base-
changes?
Oh yes, sorry. I thought you were talking about PoE 2, and I'm like, champion. Wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, yeah.
No, they made a perfidy to base slide into the champion. It's like the banner valor gain prevention and the duration. It's just okay. It's absolutely cracked. So that would be really fun to do. I mean, didn't Mark talk about how he wanted to do a super support, and when he played with friends, he would have a support merc as well, so double support for your team. But when he played solo, he would have a damage dealing merc that he would support. Pretty sure he said that.
Maybe.
He might have. I don't remember that. The interview was rather
Q&A.
long. Don't remember that part
I mean,
specifically.
I don't think the length of the Q&A was necessarily longer than usual. The reveal itself was longer. It was like 40-something minutes, right?
Was the Q&A that short? I thought the
I think
reveal
the
would actually
Q&A
be
was
longer,
about
yeah.
the same. It's just the initial reveal was longer than usual. I think. I might be off here.
Oh, either way.
That's how it felt.
Anyway, you were saying.
No, I was just saying that Mark talked about him wanting to play a support, and when he played solo, he would have a damage-dealing merc that he support. Like he was saying that was his approach to playing, and when he played with friends, he would then have a support merc, so he'd be supporting his teammates, and his merc would be supporting his teammates.
Yeah, you're right.
That was his approach to it.
I do actually remember that because I think that was in tandem with they're talking about you can store like what 3 of them at a time. Is it 3 of them you can store at a time?
Yeah.
I just want the merc system. I want it to be good. I want it to be so good.
I feel like it's either going to be completely busted or not very good at all. Like it doesn't really feel like
it better be good.
I mean, in the showcase for the Summoner Merc, they showcased a pair of gloves that says 100% of minions' fire damage is converted to chaos. And everyone's like, oh, SRS, oh my god. I'm like, but don't really care that much about SRS converting their fire damage. But mage skeletons can use combat focus duels. So I made a chaos mage skelly build work, and it's actually really good. Like ridiculously good. So I just hope things like that makes it to the core game afterwards, because that just opens up build diversity so much.
Those are
We'll see what happens.
Are those it's stat lines that can only appear on the mercenary gear, right? But like you can't. Okay. So then, but you can take the piece of gear. So you take the piece of gear, and then what you do? You try to fracture that stat line or something, and recraft the gear. Like, what's your move?
Or recombinate.
Recombinate,
or
yeah, well,
Recom.
true Recombinator.
I mean, the POB I made for that basically just expects the glove to have that mod and a bench crafted life, but nothing else, because I don't expect to craft on it on the initial budget for it. But I want those gloves. Like, and the funny thing is, if those gloves exist with 100% of lightning damage or cold damage converted chaos, it doesn't matter for Mage Skeleton. That just changes the combat focus tools. Like, it's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited.
I didn't really see many melee changes. Maybe I missed them, but it seemed like Cyclone got buffed. I didn't, and then mostly like Caster and stuff changes. But I didn't see like a whole bunch of. Some people were expecting melee nerfs, and I think from what I can tell, there wasn't really any melee nerfs that I saw in there, right?
Is RF considered melee?
I mean,
No.
you're pretty close to people.
Pox, what are you eating?
It's like these corn patties because I was supposed to be eating lunch.
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm eating cars.
yeah, they're fried. Oh, they're fried corn patties from
That
this.
actually looks really good.
It's this Taiwanese
That looks
place.
good, yeah.
They're really good.
Now I'm hungry.
It's not chewing. I gotta ask because I needed some sugar because I've been so sleepy since yesterday. I got some candy. You're not eating anything, DM? You're just drinking your beer?
Not yet. I'll eat afterwards. It's the podcast. I figure I would do the podcast and then probably wrap up with a little PoE 2. I got to go through the patch shit again because there's all the new chase items, which by the way they buff so much that they're like actually cheap on trade now. Apparently Calandra's touch drops like crazy now. Like something went crazy there. So Calandra's touch is like 3 divines or something. Like it's really cheap. So
Dude, there was a bug fix to fix the Spectre's wisp form getting stuck as well. That snuck in. So they fixed that as well.
Does that actually affect anything for you?
Well, it makes Spectre builds actually playable. They're not the best, but like they don't. They when you outrange them, they turn into a wisp, right? And they were supposed to fly to you and become alive again. But sometimes they would just not fly to you, and they would just stay back there. And the funny part was that the wisp form could be attacked, aggroed, and body blocked. So it's like, okay, you don't do anything. You're a wisp, and you can still die. Like literally the most useless thing ever. But they fixed that, so it's it seems really good. The PoE 2 patch, I briefly looked at it. It looks really good. Have you been paying attention to it, Pox, at all?
Nope. I love PoE 2. I do. It's just when PoE 1 time comes, oh boy, everything in my life just goes on pause.
Yeah, you're locked in. So, okay, so let's talk about last questions here because we're probably getting towards the end of the podcast here. Is from now until the launch of 3.26, what are you guys doing? Like, let's start with GHAZZY. So what's your next 7 days here look like? You got 1 week until the launch. What do you have to do?
Tier list for minion builds, finalize the updates of every single written guide I have, and making new builds is basically it. I'm just gonna PUB pretty much every stream. Currently working on golems, and where's my list? I have it here.
And you're starting build already? Are you starting golems or what's your...
That's the craziest part. I have never decided on league start faster than I did this league. Halfway through the patch notes, I've already decided that I'll play Absolution through the campaign, Skeleton Archers for low budget, into medium budget Mage Skeletons, into Chaos Mage Skeletons, into Lightning Mage Skeletons for high budget, which will do about 260 million DPS. So I'm quite excited. It's going to be very fun. And we had already prepped a written guide for it, and I told my guy Atros that we can't post it till we see what we need to change after the patch notes. And the patch notes basically said you'll do 10% more damage. We shipped the guide out after I read the patch notes. So like within 10 hours of the patch notes, the build guide was already readily available. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, now I'll be making a lot of POBs. Once I'm done with the minion stuffs, I'm probably gonna play around with some really stupid things, Reaper and stuff like that. And then I want to look at Chaos dots. Because I don't know if it was enough from the patch notes, like Essence Strain Contagion and stuff like that. Quite excited to see if we can make something happen out of it, but not too... I'm not too confident in it. What about you, Pox?
Well, basically, working on the RF POB. It's a very, very in-depth POB for many stages of progression, so that takes a very long time. I got most of it done today. Then I have to make a version and do like a pass at Inquisitor. I got to do a pass at Jug. I have to do an alternate RF Chieftain POB for different variants. Then I have to go on my website, do a pass on basically everything on the website, update all like 300 questions in the FAQ, do a pass at the crafting, add a recombinate section for the crafting. Then I have to record a new Act 1 through Act 10 YouTube guide, which basically has me giving commentary from second 1 till I finish at the beach. They're usually about 5 to 6 hours long, so it's a 5 6 hour video. Just go, no editing. Then I've got the PoE Vault stuff, so I've got to make sure my RF Chieftain, Juggernaut, and Inquisitor are all updated for the Vault guide. Then I have some other things on the side I'm doing for my YouTube channel. So, standard stuff for Righteous Fire, like top 10 tips, just setting up a whole bunch of beginner friendly stuff. I feel like there's a few other things, but I don't really remember, but it's all Righteous Fire related. So, yep.
So you're not busy at all.
Yeah.
You're pretty
No,
much
not at all.
pretty relaxed. You get most.
But I
Least
mean,
it's
you have
not-
Roots doing the writing for you, right? I have Atros writing for me on the
Roots
vault.
does the writing for me, yeah.
Yeah, Atros does for me. That alleviates a lot of time
It
for
does.
us.
Yeah, we basically just boot it up, go through. I have the whole guide memorized in my head and, confirm everything. And, yep.
Nice. Okay. I'm not really sure what I'm league starting yet. I kind of want to like run it back with another Arc build because I enjoyed Arc and there's new bosses to try it with Arc this time, but it looks like it got a little bit nerfed and it's worse than it was. And then my Arc of Surging is not near as good as it was in Affliction League, so I'm probably going to end up going like a Bleed Slam build again. But
Okay.
Champion looks kind of fun. I don't know how much total
can-
fortification you can get, but Champion looks like the
A lot.
Really?
A lot,
Do you
yeah.
know the number off the top of your head?
34, maybe? Like we're talking about very end game gear.
Okay.
Maybe 32, maybe 36. I don't play champion very often. Maybe more. Maybe like a lot more. I think realistically though in the 30s. I don't know. I have to go look again. Has been a while.
I don't have the
People are
PoE.
saying way more.
Just
Okay, they're
playing
saying
with it.
45. Never mind. Way more than 30. There you go. Someone said 70? What the heck?
70? No, not 70. I think around 40, 45. But
40, 45. Okay.
I'd like to remember someone saying 50 to me, but that might be off.
So
Have to
then
double check.
I'm probably going Champion then, from what I'm seeing. I like the change there. What do you think about the Berserker change? Actually, I got one more question for you here. Wait, did you guys see the Berserker changes?
No, I don't know what that class is.
Yeah,
Basically making a hybrid Slayer out of it.
yeah, instant leech.
Yeah.
That's true. Never mind. I do remember looking at it. Yeah. I don't know. People were saying it's kind of weird with it losing Blitz, right?
Right.
Blitz was like the
Yeah.
big identity for it.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that one looked kind of interesting, so maybe try that. I kind of miss Cleave of Rage too. I might try Cleave of Rage again, but it's
Well,
kinda
you
where I'm
didn't
at.
get +1 radius this patch.
Good old Cleave.
Good old Cleave.
Or Cyclone, dude. The Cyclone got buffed, right? And then that new Starfall looked kind of into the preview they showed.
The
like,
weapon.
The weapon, yeah. That did
That
look
looked
pretty
cool.
I just
fun.
want to point out, like a PSA. I talked to Jonathan about it as well. Animate Guardian do not trigger skills, so you can't use the Starfall weapon on the AG. And Jonathan confirmed that because of limitations and whatnot, it will very likely not work on the Mercenaries either. So you can't have you, the Merc, and your
That's good
AG
to know.
using Starfalls, because that would be cool though.
That's good to know. All right. Well, you guys got any other topics then? I mean, we kind of went through the review here. I think we covered pretty much everything about the review, right?
I think so.
It should be about it. So
Do we
All
talk a lot about the betrayal? That would probably be it.
we talked a bit about. We did cover the new orbs, I guess. If well, you actually think the additions to the orbs are actually going to change much? Like you got the shaper orbs now, etc. Like I'm not really sure.
I
if you
mean,
got
the
takes
way
on
we
that.
treated it before was we got an influence item of another influence, then we flipped it into Shaper
Reforge it,
Elder.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think it's nice to have for SSF. Again, it's just a chance you get lucky and find something. I don't know how much. I mean, I'm sure there's some builds that are definitely affected by like being able to slam an Elder Orb on something now
Yeah.
for like a final affix, right? Like maybe like specific weapons, for example. You have like a really good 4 or 5 property weapon, and you hit it with like an Elder Exalt to try to get like something big, right? I don't know exactly what it can roll, but things like that. So I definitely think we get a little bit more spice with the Exalt slamming.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the new betrayal crafting. Like you have the
It's
new.
80
It's
seconds,
way
new
better.
currency.
Way better.
Yup. Yeah, looked
I love
amazing.
that. That
Guff
was
is
the
not
graph
Guff
nuts.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, one of my most
I like
viewed
that.
one of my most viewed shorts was of me like, oh, what is this? Like I have like 10 seconds to like crafted item. It's like slam, and it's dog shit. Like that was pretty much my first experience with it, is making some ass. So having a lot more time now looks a lot better too. Then you have the scour. You got the scour Orbit Chance one too now. That looks
Yeah.
way better
I
too.
always love when I would like try to craft something, you get like, I don't know, 20 seconds, and at like the 3 second mark, I'm like, this is terrible. And then I'm like, annul, 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 vol. Like that's just my get out of here. I don't want it.
I do like the plethora of crafting options in the game. I had this really stupid idea, or we had a stupid idea. You guys know a Glimpse of Chaos?
Nope.
Seen it. Is it the
It's
helmet?
a helmet with a bunch of different mods you can roll with, including a thing like Malediction, which is a really good curse to have. And you can corrupt that in endlessly, but eventually it'll break. But what you can do is get a Malediction Glimpse of Chaos, corrupt it till it breaks, and it keeps the malediction, and then you can tainted mythic orbit. So
Into
you
a
can get yourself a Lair Cast Glimpse of Chaos helmet, which you can put on your AD or your Mercenary. It's just run 50% increased damage plus
PoE
malediction.
is so unique how you can craft unique items that cannot be crafted. Like
Yeah.
it's very unique.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like it's gonna be fun to see when PoE 2 gets more and more crafting methods. But PoE 1's crafting is bloated, I guess, but everyone loves it.
everyone always uses the term bloated, but then it's like you go to a game that's not bloated, and it means you don't have anything to
You get
do.
bored.
So yeah, you
Yeah,
get
you get
bored.
Yeah.
bored.
So it's like, okay, but I'd
True.
rather have. I mean, I thought about the term bloated. What does bloated actually mean? It means it's hard to learn because there's so much shit to do. But it means there's. Is it actually bloat? I mean, what part of the game? Like, how many of the things that there are to do are actually just dog shit and should be in the game, and the game be better if you remove it? Like, sir,
Heist.
heist, sure. I don't like
I mean,
heist
that-
I
either.
was
like,
about to
even
say
Heist-
blind.
Oh,
Now, what the fuck,
even like
GHAZZY?
even Heist, I actually like. It's just I don't want to like build up the people every time. It's like Colgar, like or Settlers, how it was before.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go through, level the guys up, get the desired equipment, put the desired equipment on. Like I just, if I'm in a heist, I want to just go to the heist and just that's it, like and be done, kind
Yeah.
of.
True.
I mean, you have the same thing with Sanctum. Like, you don't run that your first run. You have to get the relics before it works. Same thing in PoE 2. You gotta
That's
get the
true. There
rests
are a
up.
couple. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so there's like some progression build-ups. Katarina, Betrayal, well, before this change, same thing there. You have to build it up. But I mean, that made more sense. But now it's going to be like, hey, you build up to get the rewards, can take longer time. I think that a more non-meme answer for me would be probably the recom. I think that at least the old recom, in my opinion, is too strong. I don't mind the PoE 2 version because it opens up like you talked about with 2 mods once. It if it fails, you lose both items.
and
I
you
don't mind
delete
that.
it, yeah.
I think the old recom is too much.
Right. Well, do you want to wrap it, GHAZZY? You got anywhere? We've been going about about an hour and a half. It's about that time. Unless you guys got any other topics you want to bring up. Don't want to hold pox all day.
I did the intro. You could do the outro.
I'll do the outro. All right,
enough.
ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Tavern Talk podcast with special guest Pox and special co-host. That way, they're all special. We're all special. Participation trophies all around. GHAZZY TV. And 3.26 is coming June 13th, 1 p.m. PDT. Right? Yes, 1 p.m. PDT, I believe. So we will log in and see you there, and we'll be watching the race. There will be a Hardcore SSF Race 2 officially hosted by GGG. And you said Ben. You said, what, Ty 23, I think is what would be your guess. I'll go with my
Well,
fellow...
I don't think he's gonna be there. So I'm betting on Jungron.
Okay.
I'm a Jung fan.
We got Ben, we got Jung, and for the sake of keeping competitive, I'll go with Tai Tai. So we each have a different answer.
Nice.
I'll represent a fellow OSRS player. So that's about it. Thanks for being here, Pox. Much appreciated. We'll have a link to all Pox's
fun.
shit down below. This will be posted on GHAZZY's channel. And goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye. There we go. And it's a wrap,
right.
guys. Now we can shit talk and make fun of GHAZZY for the rest of the podcast because the official portion's over.
Oh, we gotta get that. I like the idea that I don't want to crash your party. You guys said you two wanted to do a support for a Merc, but if I could sneak in an invitation, I would love to do
Well,
a
actually, me and Pox
Yeah,
were just
it's not, like,
DMing
confirmed,
saying
so.
we gotta make
Oh.
sure he doesn't make. We're not talking about it because we were saying like, ah, shit, how do we keep GHAZZY out of this?
I don't know, dude. This new Discord overlay. I guess I can't find the DMs.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Three men, three mercenaries.
Did anyone of you guys reach out to Llama?
What about Llama
No.
RPG?
Yeah, Llama RPG. Like, where is it? I was promised $50 to play it.
I know. I'm waiting for my $50 sponsorship also.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna DM it
I
out
need it
right
to
now.
happen.
I'm
I
gonna
was
send
super
them,
excited about it. You know, I looked it up. Last time we did an interview, podcast, Tavern Talk, where we didn't have a dev, was 11 months ago.
Don't worry, I just
That's
sent
a long
them
time.
Unless I missed a
message.
video.
I said, "Where the fuck is my $50 Llama RPG sponsorship?"
We should all send him that, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Everyone DM him that at the same time, so that his phone explodes. There we go. Oh, King's here with a.
God damn it, DM.
What you like? You like that? You like that message?
Yeah, I sent it.
All right, boys. What's the rest of your day look like here? I'm about to go look at some PoE 2 patch notes.
I bought height adjustable legs that can handle 450 kilos.
I didn't know we
They
had
haven't
tech
arrived
to
yet.
replace legs yet.
For the desk.
Oh,
So I'm gonna do some research and find a tabletop to put on that because I'm redecorating my room in preparation for the next subathon for PoE 2 launch.
That's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I have no idea what to do. So I'm gonna do some research and see what I'm gonna do with the office, and that's my plan. What about you, Pox?
Staring at my website, going through every single question, and basically like updating things, and then probably getting lazy halfway through and saying, you know what? I'm just gonna do it on stream because then there's like 1,000 eyes and we get everything done so much faster. And people always want to help contribute. So it's a great way for people to help contribute, right?
there you go.
Yeah. What about you, DM?
Go through the PoE 2 patch notes again and kind of try to get one of these items to try it out, try to farm it. I also have Arbiter, the final Arbiter tier 4, and then my Atlas is basically completed except for Simulacrum. I'm only 2 out of 4 on that. For HCSSF will be done for the league. And then it's kind of a wrap, and then it's perfectly time to go into PoE 1. So that's
Sounds good.
that's the rest of my day here, I think, boys.
That's cool. That's like perfect timing.
Yeah, no, it's actually wrapped up quite nicely, and then I'll probably hop in the hot tub again. Although it's looking like it might rain on me for like the 5th time today.
Wait, how long does it take for you to heat it up?
It's it's always heated. It's heated right now.
Well, you have it a full blast?
Yeah, all the time. It's cheaper.
What?
It's cheaper to have it on full blast than to not have it on full blast.
Well, that would depend. Like, I have mine on sleep mode. Well, I don't use it that much during the summertime, but mine on sleep mode, which is like 21 C to F, like 70 freedom units idle, and then
Okay.
I'll boot it up when it's time.
I mean, that's a way
Like,
to do it.
heat it up.
But like, I have mine set at 104 degrees, and then it's just sitting there maintaining because it's cheaper to keep it at the degree. It's expensive to lower and raise it every time because where you really use the juice is to raise
it takes a long time. Like when I heat it up from the idle mode, it takes about 10 hours before it's back up on functional temperature. I don't know. I gotta get a new lid on mine.
I like how
The lid I
Pops
have
is
is,
sitting here like, am I really listening to these two fuckheads talk about hot tubs? For
Dude,
the
I love hot tubs. When I first moved out of my mom and dad's and I was in an apartment, my apartment was like right next to the pool. Like if I looked, I couldn't see anything because it was like the raised area where the pool was. And I used to go out like in the middle of the night in the winter, and I would go in the hot tub when it's like really cold out. You know, not
Yeah.
crazy cold in Texas. Like it's probably like 50 degrees. And then I would jump in the fucking pool because I'm an idiot. I'm like, holy shit, it's cold. And then I go right back in the hot tub. I'm like, oh, it feels great.
And then you get hot and then you jump in the pool again.
We jump in the pool and you freeze and you're like, oh, back to the hot tub. It was amazing.
Dude, that's the best part when you go on like ski vacation and stuff like that. Like that's really nice. You go out, jump in the fucking snow, roll around a little bit, and back into the sauna. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
you got to get yourself a hot tub, Puck, so we can have another one of these where all three of us are in a hot tub.
Bro, I can't go outside. The bugs hate me, man. It sucks. I gotta move somewhere where there's no bugs, dude.
All right, tell you what, I have so much space in my basement. Just fly over, stay for a week. I got you. That's an open invitation. Anytime you're welcome to Sweden. I'll have room for you. You can stream and everything. I'll set you up. It's all good. If you ever want to come visit,
kind of fucked
there's
up,
room.
GHAZZY. I gotta agree with Pox. You're
no, it's like
to the basement, and he gets.
It's like a living decorated one. Well, it's like a living decorated basement. So it's like a floor, but it is
GHAZZY's basement. That's gonna be my title one day. People are gonna be like, "What happened?"
Must be nice to be a Swedish.
Couldn't pay rent anymore, guys.
This guy's got a basement. He's got a cuck shed. He's got a hot tub. Man, living the life over there in Sweden must be nice.
After Texas.
Oh.
He's gonna go through that problem first.
Mm-hmm.
That's good shit. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys. I will catch you guys later. This was fun. About time we did this.
Thanks for wasting multiple hours of your day with us, Pox. Much appreciated, buddy.
Yep, not a problem. You guys have a good one.
All right. 07, everybody. Bye-bye.